Welcome to the Dragon Athletic Podcast. Effort is everything. With me, Coach Andy.
And Coach Clara.
CJ.
CJ.
It's cooler.
People asking me where did that come from.
Clara Jones. People see the first part of your name and then they go, oh, don't worry about your surname.
I think you started that off actually. It was in lockdown, wasn't it? I think. Yeah.
CJ,
Yeah.
the DJ. Anyway, today's chat podcast between me and Clara is basically about affiliate programming. So Clara's just finished her first 8-week block.
Yep, first
here
ever.
at Dragon. Very interesting, and the reason why I wanted to record what we're going to talk about, because I want to put it out into the ether to a lot of other CrossFit coaches, CrossFit gym owners, you know, just to give them some kind of feedback of what we've experienced here, because I don't think there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there's people that telling you there's one way versus another way. You know, full disclosure, you know, I am CrossFit through and through, very much constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity. You know, we vary the loads, reps, the distances, and the time.
He's off
in
now.
order to create, you know, a fitness which is broad, general, and inclusive. However, okay, I do think sometimes that can stifle my programming, and specifically when trying to get particular kind of stimuluses within the gym. Now, us being a CrossFit affiliate, the traditional kind of outlook is, or, you know, what we do, you know, we focus on the one thing every day, or the one stimulus every day. And then over time, people, when they train consistently over time, will bring everything up in, together.
Yeah.
Right? So their strength will go up, you know, and their
skill-based fitness.
Everything's going to be coming up and through. And so that is what creates my philosophy on terms of programming, but sometimes I do find it very difficult within the gym to get desired, not results, I guess, but, you know, when you actually have that business part of it, you want people to keep coming back, you want people to be consistent. Not everyone's going to take a rest day on a Thursday, let's say. So, you know, we have gone through some various things. Clara's first one, I didn't really give you any feedback, maybe on the first week.
Yeah, because I did too much.
Okay, maybe on the first week, but then more specifically, we've had feedback at the end.
Yeah.
Again, theory on that one before you dive into it. It was, I can point you in the right direction, but as soon as I start pinpointing you in the direction, what tends to happen? Well, it becomes my problem. So what I actually felt was the best and most beneficial for Clara's development, same way as I developed my programming philosophy, is just to go off and do it.
Experience it.
Yeah, and I think as an affiliate owner, that was, you know, it was massively rewarding, because one, it does take a bit of stress off me, but if there was something, you know, not necessarily, I didn't think that worked, you know, I could feedback to you on that day, but unless you'd put it in there, you wouldn't have developed it.
No.
All right, so again, go for it, right? So the reason why, I guess, it's a lot of me chatting, I apologies, I'm just trying to set the story out there. But the reason why I felt it was very beneficial to have this conversation is because we put out a questionnaire, a feedback form to our community, and we asked them what it was that they liked, see if there was anything that they didn't like. You know, it was just a feedback form on there, and it basically came back 99% fucking amazing. And so I want to go through a couple of things which Clara has done. We've had great feedback, and more feedback like that we have.
Yeah.
More consistent people train, the more consistent people train, the better results they get. The more better results they get, the long-term serving members they are.
Yeah.
So, CJ, talk about your program.
So 8-week block. I didn't really, at the start, when I first started putting things together, I honestly didn't really know how the 8 weeks going to look. Like, I didn't do it in advance. It was kind of like, right, do the first week, see how it goes. From the first week, I think, from a coaching point, I think I put a member head on to start. So I was thinking, like, what would I like to get done in the hour? So, like, the first week, I kind of tried to hit, like, a pull, push, horizontal, vertical push, squat, hinge, all these sort of things. And I think in the first week, I then started to learn from a coach's perspective, trying to put too much into a session, You'd lose the quality. The coaching wouldn't be as thorough. So from the first week, that was a mistake I made in the first week. And then from there, then developing the program, it was kind of this natural theme of wall balls started to come into place, because being, coaching a lot of the classes, you get the feedback, oh, I hate wall balls, or, oh, why can't I get a pull-up yet, or stuff like this. So all that's in my head. And then I think, as most members say, I want to come out of the class and I want to feel like I've tried my hardest, I've got a really good
done a wad,
and they've really pushed themselves. So in my head, a lot of people are like, they know it's my program because it's EMOM. Apparently I do a lot of EMOMs, or for every 2 minutes or something like that. I don't know. It was just I think with some of the girls that I've programmed for, with their pull-ups and push-ups, my gymnastic was EMOM. But
right.
That's my style. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
So if it's EMOM for time, I feel like you've got a number in your head, you can stick to it. So a lot of mine, there's a few AMRAPs in there, but I think a lot of mine were for time or interval based.
Explain it and paint the picture for the listeners and the viewers in terms of what that typical week transferred into. And this is why it was really interesting, is because there was a lot of consistency in there. Yeah. There was variance across the week.
Yeah.
However, on a daily,
there
was a lot of consistency. So talk about that.
So Mondays would be you either lunging, forward lunging or reverse lunging with barbells or dumbbells.
So single leg strength. And
then you'd be doing wall balls with a variation of double unders and burpees, and that would be a very fitness, but focus was the wall balls. So the volume would go up every week, or we'd try and change the stimulus a little bit with the volume of the other fitness things we were doing. So that was quite low skill day, but fitness based.
And it's a good one to kick the week off with as well.
Yeah, so you come in, you hammer it the first day of the week.
Now, while you say low skill on that Monday, having taken part in that, I mean, we got a lot of lunges in, and my booty hurt. My booty hurt for a good couple of weeks. But it alternated, as you said. We went from walking lunges. It was quite in vogue after the quarterfinals. The barbell back rack reverse lunge. It's a very good strength and condition, or strength S&C exercise. With that Monday, then once you decided, right, it's going to be conditioning focused. Was there a goal at the end of that 8-week block to say, right, we're going to do Karen or some form of a benchmark? Yeah,
I just wanted the more like mental resilience with wall balls to get a bit higher and be able to approach wall balls with, rather than I hate wall balls, or you can feel you can hold on for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So then we'd bring in like burpees and double unders. That was quite a common theme as well, or calories. So my main aim over the 8 weeks was to increase the volume of wall balls every time. And I think the last Monday was like a bank holiday. Yeah. And we had like 30 in the class. So doing Karen was logistics just couldn't work, I don't think. So we changed it a little bit, so the total number of wall balls at the end. I think the most we'd ever done in a session was 160.
Yeah. I mean, I think technically a wall ball is a weightlifting exercise because you're controlling an external load. However, it's conditioning. It doesn't matter. It's a conditioning exercise. It's something that you can do for higher volumes, maybe not in mad long duration. However, the more you do it, the better you become, the better the results.
Well, that's what I found interesting, which we probably go on to at the end anyway, was at the end of the 8 weeks, as much as people are like, wall balls again, by the end they were like, my wall balls have got better. And it's funny, if you do that once a week and you practice on a skill, they probably will get a bit better. Yeah. So I think I know it's against the constantly vary, but I think for me, there was very common movements throughout the program, and I did get feedback from that saying maybe you could have been a bit more varied.
It's the purest constantly varied concept. Okay? Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a bit more detail, and I just think it was as I said, without going into too much detail, but variance over a week versus variance on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So again, it just allowed to build a little bit of consistency from that gym owner perspective. People knew what they were going to get in. Classes were pumping. Yeah. It was low, as I said, it was low skill for a Monday, and you can't ask for anything more on a Monday morning, 6 a.m. than something which is fairly low skill, but then does stick to, the CrossFit methodology, functional movements executed at high intensity, right? So Mondays, done. Legs, wall balls, conditioning. Lovely, thank you very much. Tuesday.
Can't walk for the rest
Hit
of
us
the week.
with Tuesday.
So Tuesday was always an upper body push or pull gymnastic focus. And I wanted it to be I wanted it to be accessible for everyone, so everyone knew exactly what they could do in terms of progressions, which I think has been, before my program it was that as well. But I tried to include a little bit more accessory work. So if you couldn't do an eccentric pull-up, you were doing banding pull-ups instead, or if you couldn't do a handstand push-up, you were doing seated press instead, and tried to explain the crossover a little bit. But on the first week, I think I did upper body pull gymnastic focus. That was pull-up, supersetted with a press. I think it was a half kneeling press or something like that. So you'd have like a focus for gymnastics, but then you'd have the opposite for like a strength work. And then the following week, it would be handstand push-up focus with like a barbell bent over row.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to attack both on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But then
Focus on the 2 exercises only.
yeah. And then after that, it would be a longer interval. Actually, no, sometimes I did some pretty horrible workouts. So the power clean burpee over bar. Again, low skill because we've just done gymnastics there. I wanted the focus to be there. And then it would be very CrossFit at the end, or intervals, I should say.
Yeah.
So that was Tuesday's always a bit of a
What
stinker.
else would you put on there as well? Because obviously we're going to talk about Wednesday, which is quite barbell focused.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to sandwich that. So on that particular week, what else was in there?
On a Tuesday or
on
Wednesday?
a Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday, dumbbells, kettlebells.
Yeah. So
C2 work.
Yeah.
And always, it may be like 90 on, 90 off. But again, it's quite, I'll say conditioning again. It was more interval focused for me. And Tuesdays always seem to be a bit more popular, so it's trying to logistics as well.
Yeah.
With machines or stuff like that.
But I can't ever remember it being more than like 2 exercises, or maybe 3 tops.
Max 3, yeah.
Max 3.
Yeah. Probably, max 3, I think. But again, that was like interval, low skill again. No more than 3 actually, looking back now. A bit of barbell sometimes.
Yeah. So
but that was very common on the Tuesdays. And I flipped between, like I said, the upper body push and pull for gymnastic focus.
Yeah.
On the Tuesday.
Okay, cool. Brutal Wednesdays made a return, but with a slight little twist and variation.
So I'd always do the weather over them 8 weeks was perfect. I don't think.
Was good,
So I think I tried to do more running, heavy barbell, but again I had to consider that maybe before in a workout we may not have done as much heavy barbell. So I think I started off around
I like just to sort of there was a lot of cycling involved.
Yeah.
So cycling is probably moderate. When we talk heavy barbell, we're probably thinking 5s, maybe topping out on 7. So I'd probably say moderately heavy within, like, if we're going to program for the best and scale for the rest. However, for the gym pop, that is on the heavier side.
Yeah. So it was more running, burpees over barbell. There was a few weeks where if I put gymnastics in, I tried to think of this. If I put gymnastics in, that would be the focus. And other movements would be conditioning. If I put heavy barbell in, there wouldn't be any gymnastics in there. I don't think I did that.
I personally believe, from, having done CrossFit for like 15 years now, some of the best workouts are monostructural conditioning, i.e. running and picking up a bar. Because realistically, if we're going to start talking about things that replicate what you do outside of the gym, it's that kind of shit. Work capacity, it's power output. And so I found it very, very challenging, having done, because I basically did it more or less every one. But, putting the complexes together, and I'm like, I think it started off with the basic ones, DT, deadlift, hand power clean, and then it started to go, chuck some thrusters in there, chuck some front squats in there, and then, but they were all consecutive and built up. Yeah. And then you obviously gave people a guide on terms of the loading. Yeah.
I think that was quite cool to see, like, with the reps. On some of them, I know it was maybe 5 deadlifts, 4 cleans, 3 squats, 2 thrusters. It's quite cool to see people trying over the 8 weeks get a little bit more confident with the heavy bar under fatigue as well.
Well, I actually think that's where CrossFit training's really made a difference within obviously the fitness scape,
Mm-hmm.
but also with, you know, being able to deliver on results, because very rarely in the past have people done barbell cycling or, you know, something for more than sort of those 5 reps and trying to keep it. Now, you know, there are critics to it because there is an element of skill, but like, you know, if you can't teach someone to hang power clean, all right, unfortunately take this on the chin and what have you, whatever, but I'm like, it's the simplest exercise to teach someone. It's a bit like, hey, I need you to go here, all right, hang position just above the knees, and I need you to jump and then shrug. And if the bar doesn't come out, you're using your arms.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like, but it's interesting from that 10 general, excuse me, the 10 general physical skills, because the elements of coordination, balance, accuracy, okay, and agility, they're all smashed in there. Do you know,
Yeah.
Because it does take a lot of skill. And I know you were saying it's like, you know, it's high skill gymnastics, but like, you know, barbell cycling in terms of where your hands are going, you can see that the development over time.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely hard.
Yeah.
You know.
You can see that, I think as well, like some of the complexes I did, I tried to make sure that it was all, so you had to cycle the bar. So once you've done your clean, you're into your squats, or then you're into your thrust. So the whole point was that you're holding onto the bar,
Correct.
getting more confident with it. And I think the longest Big Wednesday we did was maybe 30 minutes. That was the very first one. It was like 1K run, 30 deadlifts, 30 burpees, 800 meter run, 20-20, 400, 10-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But Big Wednesdays I did enjoy. I had to really think about some of them, because I was obviously, I think one of the things I have learned from doing this is I really enjoyed the programming, but a lot of it is as much like, oh yeah, can we do, if someone said to you, can we do these movements all together, and can we do it this way with this bar, like actual logistics, when I think ADSI on some Wednesdays had like 25 people in the class, so it's thinking ahead of that as well, because I don't want the coach to be stood there like, oh my god, what has Clara given me to do?
Yeah.
I've got 25 people with bars going everywhere. But I think overall I was quite pleased with the Wednesdays.
Yeah. I think they were great, and you know, it pushes people outside of their comfort, right? Because a lot of people are scared of the barbell, all right, and they'll stay away from it. And then you can create some killer capacity even if someone's going below their threshold, let's say on the weight, they're like, oh, I'm not too sure and stuff like that, because there's always going to be a limiting factor exercise within that complex. So, you know, if you are going to be finishing off with, like, say, a shoulder to overhead, right, that's always going to be the limiting exercise. The limiting exercise. I found, what was it? Every time I front squat, it's like, oh, it's been a, you know, but even from those kind of things, like if you just, you know, we would just sort of say, oh, well, you know, the stimulus is the barbell. The conditioning element just makes it even harder. So then when you come in there, it's lifting under fatigue.
Which I found it was quite interesting to see, like, the mix of different people doing it. So people might be really strong on the bar, but once they've done 1K run, i.e. myself, coming in and doing a heavy barbell movement, it just absolutely threw me under the bus, which I think is it's really cool. Yeah, really cool to mix up, you know, those two. And I think you get that variety then. So you've got, you know, cardio, you come in, you got to lift something heavy. Yeah, I think trying to get everyone then, I think it was quite cool to see.
You've got to remember that, you know, our target audience, you know, is general pop.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's something to remember as well from the programming as well.
And some of the traditionalists will say, oh, well, you know, you want a gymnastics in there as well. I'm like, well, you know, we're holding onto a bar, and then I want someone to get a workout in. So if they're limited and you're going to go, I don't know, jumping pull-ups, you know, which is a great conditioning tool, but like, honestly, it's not going to get someone that pull-up is doing a jumping pull-up.
Yeah, and that's what I found with the Big Wednesdays, was because we kind of brought that back in. It's back in that. It's staying the same as well. I think for the general pop, a high volume of gymnastics on a Wednesday, for us as Big Wednesday, I think it's still good to do, but maybe I'd leave that for a Tuesday or Thursday when it's short, sharp, rather than that, like yesterday, Kelly, 400 metre run, 30 wall balls, 30 box jumps, 5 rounds. Like, that is just fitness. Yeah. Bit of strength in there with the wall ball, I guess. But there was no, like, oh, I can't do pull-ups, so I can slow down a little bit there. That is just go. I
mean, we are trying to develop, and that's always been the philosophy of Dragon here, is that we want every single member to have exposure to at least one strict pull-up. Yeah. And, you know, you can do that, you know, over a long period of time. So it's just about getting that balance. You do have to do the boring work, which is right then, gang, we're going to hold our chin over the bar.
Yeah.
Eccentric
Yeah.
lowering, you know,
Not
all that kind of
Gucci,
jazz.
but it works.
Right, so Wednesday done. Everyone's dying. All right, so we've done three
Leg
epic
check.
days. Yeah, three
Body.
epic days. And then Thursday. What are we looking on a Thursday?
Thursday was more of those. What I found was like simple gymnastics. It's not simple; they're still hard. But it was like push-ups, holds, maybe some wall walks, but very simple but humbling exercise that you could go through to try and build that foundation to then develop the gymnastics on the Tuesday. They're all kind of interval based, so I want you to hold for 40 seconds or work 40 seconds and rest for 20 seconds. Again, keeping everyone under a time condition, so it's not kind of let loose for everyone to just go wild and do what they want. That was a Thursday, and then after that, it would be like I can't remember. Thursday was like an engine sort of based, I think. So I'd have
Just
partner
worker.
Partner, engine, again, low skill. Most people are tired, but that's something I need to think about next time, because not everyone train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But
No.
Thursday was always partner. Overall, I think people enjoyed it. But maybe every now and then we throw in a partner one, just because I do think sometimes.
I think, but yeah, no, because of the Thursdays that I did, I mean, I can remember one in particular doing the farmers carries.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then the sit-ups.
That was with Alfie and Ads, wasn't it?
Alfie and ads, yeah. And then neglect, oh God, it's only sit-ups. And then next day you're going, I've done 150 sit-ups. I can feel that one. Yeah. So partner focus. Again, realistically, it's what was the one that we did where we had guests come down? That was, again, I did it with ads.
Oh, yeah.
That was box jumps, ski, lunges,
Row, bike and down.
Bike and down up. So again, you know, it is that interval base. It is very low skill. However, in terms of power output, work capacity, massive.
Well, I think we all say it, and we all know that when you work with a partner, you do try and push along with them, which I think was for our community. You know, working with someone you may not have known before, or you know, pushing yourself with someone else as well. I think that was a real positive from a Thursday.
And again, high skill element at the start.
Yeah.
And then it's a nice controllable workout after.
Yeah, because I think it's like doing the program, you have to have like coach S&C hat on, but you also have to have members hat on as well. So if I think, you know, all these skills and all these movements are going to be really good for a session, at the same time we've got, you know, members, they come in, they want to get a sweat on, they want to work hard, they want to see progression, but at 6 a.m. in the morning, if I'm giving them 7 different movements to do, it's just considering that as well. And I think that's where the little bit at the start where you focus on something specific, and you've got the rest of the session then where, you know, you do have to focus, but it's just a bit more low skill, get a sweat on, work with your partner. And I think that's what I quite liked about the Thursday.
Yeah.
And then Friday. So Friday was always, it was either squat or a clean complex.
So
Heavy.
Compound.
Yeah. And then it would be like a...
Did you have a deadlift?
I don't think I did.
No. Stress.
I don't think I did, no. Because we always had, in the Wednesday, it would be barbell-ish. So I'd have to consider that as well. And then the Friday workout, I'd try and keep it either like a benchmark CrossFit, like a short, sharper girls workout, or a version of it. So I would go a bit heavier. And I tried to keep that for time. So again, that's challenging me as well when I'm programming, not to be either go for like an AMRAP or intervals. So I've got to really think about timings of movements and what I want people to feel afterwards. I think the first week I might have done a heavy Fran.
Yeah.
I think. And that was...
Or heavier.
Yeah, heavier. Yeah, it was 35, 50 kilo, 15, 12, 9. Some running and deadlifts I did on one of them.
Yeah.
But that was when Friday was, the focus was heavier at the start, and then a little short, sharp one. Well, I say little short, sharp one.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did the one with the thrusters and then EMOM pull-ups.
Yeah. That was
Stuff
good
like
for
that.
building that capacity.
So that was more... Yeah, I think, yes. So on a Friday, it was kipping pull-ups or kipping toes to bar I tried to do. I think, on the Friday.
What I found on that one is actually, I remember doing... there was a devil's press pull-up one. Was that yours or Adsy's?
Yeah, devil press pull-up. Was that on a Friday?
No, that was Adsy's, because the volume of the pull-ups that was his first week.
Oh,
But
that's,
that-
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what-
But so but the reason why I say that is like depending on the pull-ups, because I did your your program fairly religiously, because that's all I do now is just the group classes. I would alternate that maybe with a chest to bar.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that one? There was a pull-up buy-in, and then in the remaining time you had to do AMRAP thrusters. That was the heavier one. I remember that one.
Oh, yeah. So
So I did chest to bar.
Yeah,
And
I remember
then-
that.
And then thrusters.
It's
2 minutes or something like that.
It's 50 thrusters, but every minute on the minute you had to do 5 pull-ups. So you must have done until you finished the 50 thrusters.
Until you finish the 50 thrusters, yeah. So I just changed that up slightly to chest to bar and slightly higher volume, but it allowed individuals to manage volume, and I think that was a really good idea, idea in which to do that. Now, reason, as I said back at the beginning, is that I enjoyed the programming. I enjoyed the consistency. The members' feedback has been pretty good. I know that some of them have spoken to you individually and given you some bits and pieces, but we always like to direct our clientele to the best possible process. Right now, this is where the conversation starts to happen in regards to affiliate owner, CrossFit traditionalist, someone's working their programming for the first time, because I'm so versed in the traditional concept, sometimes I think it hampers my capacity to write a program or a group class program, and sometimes I end up doing too much.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just like the way in which, it's anecdotal evidence. Feedback was really good, but we created a form of variance.
Yeah.
Over a week. Now, people might come back and argue and say, well, the people who only come in on a Tuesday and Thursday are only going to get X, Y, and Z. And they're going to develop their pull-ups. But that's the element of coaching then. It's a bit like, okay, well, we're doing it here. We're providing a service. Why don't you come in here? Or the other one is, no problem. Come and see us as a coach. And what we'll do is one-on-one.
Yeah.
And we'll have some PT. Because you've got to think of this in terms of, the best prescription for someone. If they are working on a particular skill and they've decided there's a particular skill that they want to work on, then they have to have an individual tracked. That's my viewpoint.
I think that was a bit of the feedback that I got, was that if I do train on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm doing wall balls, big Wednesday, and then deadlifts or cleans. And that's not a bad combination.
What's
to
your
do.
goal?
But what's your goal? But I think from the feedback and acting on it next time, if I program, would be maybe I switch a Monday and a Tuesday around.
Well, I've done that one. So where you were doing the 2-week cycle, so every 2 you would change the exercises and the intent on the skill set or the strength piece at the beginning, is that I've also done that in the past where I flip it over. You can do it. I think sometimes people actually like the consistency.
Routine.
They like the routine.
yeah.
And it's a bit like when you start having that conversation with someone, well, I'm only coming in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a bit like, cool. So is this a priority, or do you just want to get exercise in?
Yeah.
And so that's where, the idea that I showed you yesterday in terms of exercise training competition, it's just like obviously pointing people in terms of where they are on that life cycle, etc. And that was the other thing. It's like, for those of you that have gone and had a look at, say, competitive programming within the CrossFit space, or strength and condition, traditional strength and conditioning, I know it's not the variance which we're saying. So if you're doing biceps and triceps on a Tuesday and you do it every Tuesday, what happens if you do biceps and triceps on Thursday? It just feels a bit weird, but you can still do biceps and triceps, all right? But however, it's a variance over a week.
Yeah.
So over that training schedule, and it's because you've got that full program there, you can create that variance throughout. But the goal that we're trying to do is to create a fitness which is broad, general, inclusive, which I think that we generally do here.
We see a lot of our members go and do, I think the classic one is when people go and do a 10K or a half marathon or something for charity where it involves a bit of fitness, and they haven't actually trained towards the event, but they've been coming here 4 or 5 times a week, and they find that they can throw themselves into physical activity and actually be able to hold himself there. Whereas I
Yeah.
think because we cover everything,
Yeah.
so things like going to Ninja Warrior, people might find they're a little bit more ahead of their friends because they've done stuff in here,
Yeah.
pull-ups, etc. When you
Yeah.
have to climb across.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's you know, these are the conversations that we're having now, because there needs to be some more help out there for affiliate owners. This is just the way in which we do things, you know, not to blow our own trumpet, but why the fuck not? You know, I think we were the 4th gym in the UK to get, you know, number of people through to the quarterfinals. You know, we do have, you know, we have a couple of people who are doing you know, maybe some competitive track kind of stuff, but the vast majority of those people do at least 3 or 4 classes a week, you know, and so they do the additional bits and pieces on top, you know, and that's what I'm trying to get across here. Is a bit like, well, it doesn't what matters? What is, you know, what is it that matters? Does it matter that we're getting people consistent, we're getting them fit, and we're getting them results, or does it matter that, you know, we're chopping and changing all the time because we're trying to think, well, I want everyone to, I need to tell everyone they have to have a pull-up. Some people couldn't give a shit.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So they'll go, do you know, I'm not going to come in on Tuesday, or if I do come in on a Tuesday, I might do something. Does that make sense? So, you know, there's the purist form, which sometimes doesn't marry up with the affiliate form, you know, and you know, without going into too much detail, I have outsourced the programming to a very well-known one, and I've made some adjustments to it, and the members have fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I'm meant to turn, no, you've got to do this because this is the way, you know. It's like, I'm like,
It's all about like the experience we have here. So if people are happy here, then we know what we're doing is good. If people aren't enjoying it, but it's the way to do it.
yeah.
It's that like balance beam sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's look, you know, it sounds again, do we know more or what might be better for our clientele? Yeah, okay. However, there needs to be the strike of that balance, because I am a very firm believer in terms of consistency's the be all and end all. And so if people keep coming and time again, and then you can have that conversation with them. It's like, oh, well, I'm missing it. Well, why don't you come in on a Tuesday? Well, I can't. Okay, well, do you actually want to work on a pull-up? Yeah, I do. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is that we'll do one session together, and you've got that additional program, which, hey, do you know that Wednesday you come in? All right. Just do that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you need to throw down, you can always jump in the class and stuff like that. So at least then you are having conversations, and that's the part of coaching. It's like programming is one big thing, and it's a part of your gym. It's a considerable part within a CrossFit affiliate, because, you know, it is the programming, you know, which has helped CrossFit to get the results. However, in terms of, how can I put it? In terms of, like, you know, boots on the ground, whatever you want to call it, application, anecdotal evidence, you know, what we have found is that consistency has been, you know, great. You know, I'm a big fan of squatting. You know, one criticism I will have is like, oh, well, you know, that squat wasn't appearing in there once a week. But then the same argument could be there. It's just like, I love squatting, so in order to get that consistency, because every single power lifter in the world squats on a Monday, and every weightlifter squats twice a week on the same days. Do you know what I mean? You have to take little sections of that, you know, because fundamentally, I think as an exercise, you know, we have to kind of prioritize that somewhere.
Yeah, and that's one thing I probably noticed as I went on, is that I didn't include a lot of barbell, heavier squats, but then I'd try and cover squats. We do it's not the same stimulus, so wall balls, maybe a heavier thruster or a squat clean on a Friday. But yeah, that's one thing that
comes into blocks, you know, sort of training blocks. And the thing is that's your flavor. Yeah. You know, because as you said, in terms of what your priorities was to make sure that everyone felt that they had a good workout at the end. All right. And so, you know, at Dragon, we just generally at the end of the class go, did everyone have a good workout? And generally they say yes. They can't say yes because they're too tired. But, you know, you've got, you know, it's one of those things, you know, you had the skill elements in there, you had the development in there, and the results speak for themselves. And those results were that we had happy members who had moved forward in terms of their fitness, meaning that their power output had gone up. And then we were exposing them to high skill movements and moving them on a linear progression across that. And look, you need some form of linear progression in order to develop a high skilled movement, right? Because it's exposure.
I think, like you said before, some feedback I got is that the sessions were, but they're always inclusive, but because there wasn't, like, I don't know, higher skills in there, and there was always that option to do something else. I think that's what I wanted to achieve, is that everyone, you know, is nailing the workout, they're getting the right stimulus, and if they want to do additional, that's why we're here to do, you know, our individual stuff. Or, okay, you want to get your first handstand push-up. Okay, you might have to get out the class and do something extra. Not out the class, but maybe have to stay 20 minutes longer or come in on the weekend and just get... Because that's what a few of, you know, our members are doing. They've noticed that the classes are great. They want to try and work on a skill, but do class at the same time. And it takes them half an hour to an hour to get that extra skill session done. And hopefully when they go back into the class, they can start really seeing the progression. But we hope to achieve that anyway in the class. So if you come Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, some of our members do, you will eventually see that you can use less bands on the pull-ups, or, you know, you can hold yourself upside down for a bit longer, because we do try and... so many movements we can include. And I think, you know, trying to get them all in sometimes, that I found, I was just like looking over my week and I was thinking, right, have I got a push in there? Have I got a pull in there? Are people going upside down? Are people picking up something heavy? And just trying to tick it off. And I think over time, you will start to see... And
the coaching gets better because you get to spend time coaching one particular movement, you know. So, you know, some might say, oh, well, you know, wall ball, all right? By being consistent with the wall balls, it definitely forced me, as someone who's got a lot of experience, to coach it better. And, you know, some people might not have a wall ball, write it off. But it's like, right, where does that individual need to hold that ball? Hold it at your face, hold it at your chest, keep your eyes looking at the target, okay? And then the big one is like, you notice someone's not hitting depth. Oh, shock horror. The best thing is, rather than saying you need to go a bit lower, you just go and stand by them. Then go lower on the next one. You know,
apply the pressure.
And it works, you know, and the reward from that was, you know, I can think of a particular member in question, started off on a 3 kilo ball, and then yesterday picked up the 6. Just said, I'm going to try it harder, and form and everything was right. So that is a result. I
think it's weird, because, like, even as being a coach, like, if you practice something, you will get better at it. And I think sometimes everyone's looking for, like, the magic secret or that magic movement that you're going to get. But I think it's just consistency with practicing stuff. I'm like, yeah, it works, sort of thing.
And like the wall balls and the barbells, in all fairness, right, they yes, being lower skill, but then the skill set of creating greater capacity through them, because you can make quick wins and quick changes in those exercises because they are lower skill. But in those high skill exercises, let's just talk about a strength, you know, strict pull-up. You know, strict pull-up, you have to have one of them before you possibly go on to try and do kipping ones. All right, that is a long journey.
I
mean, and the only reason why I mention that is I remember I saw some of the fitter guys in the class on some of the barbell cycling doing singles on the power cleans, and then I'm like, hang on, because you know the person in question.
I know who you're right,
I just went, you need to do touch and go. And then they did touch and go, and then once they realised that they could do it, they cracked on from it, you know. So
I think that's been really cool as well to see. I think from people doing the consistent gymnastic stuff, like the first week, say for the handstand push-ups, they use like maybe 3 or 2 mats, and by the end, telling them to try one because they've been doing it for 6 weeks of doing 2, and just having that coach to give them confidence to do it, they've been able to, or even get their first toes bar or first handstand push-up, and hopefully now they can just keep. And as well, I think it's exposing them to the movements they can do outside. So if they think that doing lowers slowly on a handstand push-up has actually worked, they know they can come in and do that 10 minutes for the class. It's not got to be an hour session.
And again, it's just like it's knowing from, you know, so just a little bit of background on, you know, CJ, right? You know, so CJ's got a master's in strength and conditioning, right? So it's probably a lot of, you know, it's a very high qualification to have versus to a lot of people who, you know, no offense to everyone, but, you know, I've done a level 1 on a weekend, you know, and I'm not bagging that. I'm just saying it's that you know, having left my masters and you completing it, and the reason being is that it gives you the exposure, and then you've got to go away and you've got to take things, bring them in, see how you do it. Because, you know, as I said, what we've done and decided is that we do have variance within our program. It's built throughout a week. But, you know, something like, looking back in terms of like Charles Poliquin, he's like, well, you know, you need to hit something every 4 to 5 days. And so, like, you have to take those things into consideration. Does that make sense? So it's a bit like, if you now going over a 2-week period of maybe not having hit something with a similar movement pattern, then all of a sudden, you know, are we going to get that training stimulus on terms of that progression for that individual? Because one of the things which you said right at the beginning is that I had to think with my members hat on, because what we have noticed with some programming, you know, and this is and again, I've seen it through a lot of people who program for affiliates, you know, and sometimes it's a bit like, wow, well, if everyone's got the skills, this would be awesome workout. However, if you've got someone in there who's like an intermediary, you know, I'm like, this is shit. You know, it wasn't the wrong word to say it, but it's very difficult for that coach to get that quality out, because it's a bit like, hey, we need to do this. Yeah. And then so the simplicity of your program is why I think the seeds of its worth in terms of why it's been so successful, is because we focused on a couple of things which we wanted to achieve, which we did achieve, but we had to sacrifice a couple of bits and pieces, whether it would be with that variance or whether it would be, you know, like, God, we're on wall balls. I mean, we could have done a dumbbell thruster. They're pretty savage, you know. However, a wall ball. So I ended up at the end of the block, maybe in a bit before, towards the end, I've started going on to that 30 pound. That 30 pound
yeah,
thing.
you and I.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what I mean? That, you know.
So if you don't know Andy, if there's a workout, he'll try and make it harder every time.
And fail. That's why we always have good, thorough warm-ups. I remember doing one of the barbell cycles. I was like, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to go for 70 on this one. Nope. Definitely not for 30 minutes. All right, so again,
everyone moans about the warm-up rounds, but that is why we do it. So when you hit the workout, you're not. I can't. I find it really annoying for that person if halfway through they've got to change their barbell.
You're too lenient. I'm like, you're buying into this now, so you got to do it. Well, just in terms of the format, you know, we follow whatever every other group class does, basically, right? So we have a very specific general warm up. No, we have a general warm up which we've just basically taken from our Zoom. All right, so you know. It's three exercises, gets people moving, gets the blood flowing. We do each movement for 30 seconds, right? It gives us an opportunity to focus in on key points of performance with a lot of the individuals, okay? Just to see how people are moving. Then we'll move on to the specific, right? And within that specific, we try to focus on the one thing, all right? And then that encompasses the skill, and we move into the skill, right? So, for example, your Tuesday one, because obviously it's got a high skill set on it, we would do some more shoulder work after the general, and then we go and do all the kips, and then we logically increase the intensity as we go along. And then it's super easy after we've done that work, that skill set. It's like, right, let's simplify it, let's get the equipment out, and let's clang and bang. Okay, so let's have a look at the movements. Excellent. Right, now let's do a practice round. Because you go, right, let's do it for 2 minutes, and then like you just see people like doing one round and then looking around like this. I'm like, well, that's extra work. But that's our way. You know, other gyms do other things. You know, what we wanted to do with this podcast is just to sort of say, hey, we've done something. We've had really good feedback from it. Might not necessarily happened if we just kept doing the same thing time and time again. And we felt it would be a benefit to the community. Just to share it ever so slightly. So how much are you charging for the 8-week plan? No,
I do think as well at the end of the 8 weeks, I thought if I'd have done a 9th week, I think people would start to, I don't know, I think that was like a perfect time to then, right, now we're going to try something else. Someone else is going to do it now. We're going to have a new exposure and then just freshen it up again.
It gets monotonous. I mean, we've been doing it for 10 years, you know, and everyone's like, right, I'm like, hang on. What we do is that you find a block of training which has been mega successful. Okay, so I've got my functional strength one if you want to know. You know, guaranteed new PBs on squat, snatch, clean and jerk, everything, right? However, you just have to make some variations on that a little bit because it's tried and tested. You know, and likewise now we've got this 8-week block. who's to say why not? Why shouldn't we use this block again towards Christmas time? Because I know it's successful, and when it's starting to get shitty weather and people are starting to get tired and they're over it, I'm like, well, fuck, we'll get it back in there. We can use everything as a comparison, you know?
Yeah.
So why? Because it still holds true to the methodology of constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity. However, we've controlled that variance over an 8-week block, and then, you know, it allows us to stick to the other bits and pieces. So I just wanted to sort of congratulate you on it. From a mentor kind of perspective, I let her run with it, because as soon as you start getting involved too much from a mentor and pointing in bits and pieces, it no longer becomes that individual's, and it's better to do it retroactively. That's how I learned. Yeah. Okay. Plus, it also allows you to have your personality and your trait on that. Just have a thicker skin afterwards when it's a bit like that. It's an easier conversation from me going, hey, I don't think that's going to work. And you're like, why?
Me straight away on the defense.
And then, but it's a lot easier a conversation is, hey, CJ, how do you reckon that went? You know, and so it's like, yeah, cool. Well, let's change it
I
for
think
next
sometimes
week.
you get a bit, I got a bit, maybe overexcited when I was writing it. It's like, oh yeah, that'd be really good. And then I think the main thing I've learned over that 8 weeks was just logistics for me. I think that's what I really, even like, you know, never do toaster bar, wall balls and double unders together.
In our gym.
In our gym.
Yeah, in our gym.
Because it just, if people get whipped or someone falls off the rig.
Well, toaster bar, yeah, I know, but toaster bar wall ball is one of the best combos going, right? Best combos going. And it's a bit, no, what it is that people don't manage their balls. Hey, because the thing is, I've done it on a seminar, and I'm like moving people's balls, because realistically, it's like, it's like away they go, and I'm like, hang on, just, you know, part of the thing is placing it down. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So, it's been good. Hope you guys have benefited from it. If you want to find out any more information on it, right? So Clara at dragonathletic.com. Ask us some questions, okay? If you do ask for the program, okay, I expect a big paycheck for CJ, right? She put that work in, all right? Maybe she can sort of help you out, but well done.
Thank you. It's been really fun. Thanks everyone for feedback, positive and sometimes abuse. Abuse. I hate you.
Said sick. From a place of kindness and love.
Yeah, though, no, deep down it was love. But no, it was really good. It was, you know, opportunity to program for a gym, which is the first time I've ever done it. So felt the pressure at the start. I was like, oh my God, what if, because you've been doing it and it's been, you know, 10 years of doing it. It's like big shoes to fill. And I thought, if I get this wrong, you've got, how many people do come for a day? 80 people a day coming in. If they all walk out, they're like, that was rubbish. Yeah. It's on me. Yeah. So
massively. And it's part and parcel of being a good coach within an affiliate, is having the understanding, the application, time management, lesson planning, all that kind of stuff, and all that jazz. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's part of your core product, and that core product realistically is those connections and that coaching, which you're trying to do. I did have an idea of something else, but I don't know where it's completely left. So maybe that'll be enough one. We've waffled on long enough. I've had you for 18 minutes more than I promised you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.